For years, America, land of the chubby, home of the chunky, has battled the bulges. We've tried to boil it away, row it away, jump it off, and jiggle out of it. We've even aerobicized it, danced around it. We've tried to pedal it off on someone else. We've shaked it and baked it, but never before have we rotated it. But now, far from the roar of the fad diet jungles, comes a voice saying simply,
eat less fat and walk. Do it every day.
Meet Dr. Martin Catan, a professor and director of the weight management program at Vanderbilt University, and renowned author of the best-selling books, The 200-Calorie Solution, Beyond Diet, and now The Rotation Diet. Dr. Catan put his hometown on the rotation diet and started the Melt a Million campaign across America. A former fat man who was 75 pounds overweight, Dr. Catan has discovered from personal experience and scientific research how to take weight off and keep it off. With his rotation diet, you can now be the slim, healthy person you've always dreamed of and stay that way the rest of your life.
Let's talk about the rotation diet. To begin with, I want to tell you why and how the rotation diet was created. There were two reasons. The first reason was to remedy that frustration you feel when you go on the usual 1,200-calorie diet. And here I'm talking to the women who are sitting around me. You know what happens when you go on diets like that. Everything's okay for the first week or two. But after that, your weight loss begins to slow down. You begin to hit those plateaus. You get discouraged. And when you're not getting results, that's when your motivation sags. Pretty soon, you start to deviate, and you make even bigger deviations, and you blow it, and the whole diet goes down the tubes. So that's the first reason. The second reason was to remedy the dangers in other low-calorie diets. When you go on a low-calorie diet, and here I'm talking about those 800-calorie diets and the protein powders, 300 calories worth of powder or liquids a day, when you go on a diet like that, your metabolic rate slows down. When your metabolic rate slows down, it's called the starvation response. And I'd like to explain what happens on that. Right here, sitting right now, the average woman in this room needs around 60 calories an hour to stay alive. That's about what you're burning at rest. Now, when you go on one of those low-calorie diets, your whole body turns off. Your body temperature begins to fall. Your pulse rate drops. It's like turning down the thermostat in a house. And at the end of about 3 weeks or so, you only need 35 calories to stay alive, not 60. And this means that when you go off that diet, if you eat any more than 60% of what you used to eat, you're going to start to gain weight. And what's even worse than that is your fat cells are getting ready to gobble up the calories right out of your bloodstream faster than ever before. It means that more of the food you're eating is turning to fat. When you get heavier all over again, you're even fatter than you were before. So we wanted to remedy that situation. That's a disaster, isn't it? Yeah. Well, let me ask you a question now. You've been on diets before, right? Anybody here ever been on a diet before? Yes? No? All right. We've all been on diets before, maybe even some of those low-calorie diets that I talked about. And anybody ever lost any weight on a diet? Sure. Right, all right. We've lost weights on diets. We're expert weight losers, aren't we? But then we go off our diets. And then what happens? We start to eat again the way we used to. And what happens? What happens? You wait. You start gaining that weight back again, and you even double. That's right. You even double. You gain that weight back. You know, I've heard that story hundreds of times from people in the Vanderbilt program. They say things like this to me. Dr. Catan, I've lost 1,000 pounds in my lifetime. The same 20 pounds 50 times, you know? And they say things like, I've been fat all my life, I've tried every diet there is there any hope for me? And you know, that's the wrong way to put that question. That's not the right way to put that question. Let me show you, with some food samples that I brought along here, the right way to put that question. I've got here some of those foods we all love to eat. How about that? Look at that over here. You know, maybe these are symbolic of the junk food that we eat each week. Not just candy, but the fried foods and the desserts and the fatty snacks. And maybe in a given week, we might eat, say, 10 of these or 15 of these or so. You know, Every time I pick these up, I start to salivate. I mean, you know, how about you? How about that? Yeah, how about that, right? What, can you feel it? You're salivating? Sometimes I think these foods are created by mad scientists who stay up at night in their laboratories concocting these things, putting the fat and the sugar and all the things we love to eat, a pinch of salt just to bring out the flavor right, so that we can't resist them, so that our appetites will turn on. Even when we've had a full meal, we just turn on, we want to eat all over again, you know? When you turn on to foods like this, it's your body, it's every cell in your body screaming, eat, eat. It's not a moral issue. You don't have to kick yourself. It's really a biological issue. We love these things. It's natural, it's human to love them. Let me tell you about the right question. Let's assume you eat about 10 servings of these foods each week, of that whole category of food. Do you think that it's within the realm of possibility that out of those 10, you'd be willing to substitute one for one of these? Okay, you're very energetic. Would you substitute one? Would you? Okay, you know, there's hope for you. If you're willing to make a substitution of a fresh fruit for some of the junk food, there's hope. Now, there's a second part to this question, and the second part has to do with physical activity. Do you watch television?
Sure.
You watch some television? How much do you watch every day? How much? Do you watch an hour? About an hour. Do you watch television? How much? How much?
4 hours at night.
4 hours at night. Oh, my God. Well, now, I've got a question for you. You watch television. Do you think it's within the realm of possibility that you would sacrifice 5 minutes a day to take a walk?
Sure.
5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day. Let's call a spade now. Do you think that you could sacrifice 45 minutes of your sitting time each day and take a walk instead of sitting or watching television? Because if the answer to that is yes, then you really have it made. You've got to put those two things together. Are you willing to substitute some fruits for the junk food snacks? Are you willing to sacrifice a little of that time you spend sitting around? Because if you are, that's the right way to put that question. And a yes answer means you've got a chance. You can make it. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about my own story. I don't have any recollection of ever being a thin kid. I was fat, I think, from the day I was born, and by the time I was 12 years old, I was 50 pounds overweight. And my family was really worried about this, and they took me to the pediatrician, and I'll never forget this scene. Good old Dr. Davis, I know he wanted to help me. There he was. He had calipers on my hips, and he ran his fingers down a chart on the wall, and finally he looked down at me and he laughed. He says, "You aren't even on that chart," you know? And then he took my metabolic rate, and it was slow. So they gave me thyroid, and they gradually built me up to 4 grains a day. Can you imagine 12 years old? And all the while they were building up the thyroid, I was increasing my consumption of potato salad, so we came out even, and I didn't lose any weight. Finally, my heart began to skip beats, and they had to discontinue the thyroid. And then when I was 35 years old, I was already 75 pounds overweight. I want to show you something over here. These are my Fat Man pants. These pants were hand-tailored for me. 1952 in England, Burton's of London. Can you imagine that? 55 inches around the seat. How many of you are 55 inches around the seat? I mean, that's really fat in the can, isn't it? I really know fat. Well, I was 35 years old. I was so hypertensive I couldn't even get insurance. And one day, outside the office, I was playing a game of ping pong in the hallway near my office at Vanderbilt, and I had a heart attack. Now, it turned out to be a very fortunate experience because it was a minor coronary, and my doctor was way ahead of his time. Instead of putting me to rest and telling me to take it easy, he said, "Dick, the only way that you might prevent another recurrence of this heart attack is to lose weight and get physically active. That's what you have to do." So I was ready to take that advice seriously. It was 3 weeks before the beginning of the semester, 1963. And I knew, like everybody else knows, what do you have to do to lose weight? You give up the candy, you give up the ice cream. If you want to lose it quickly, you do it completely. If you want to lose weight fast. So I thought to myself, it's 3 weeks before the beginning of the semester. Anybody can be perfect for 3 weeks, so I'll give it all up for 3 weeks and see what happens. Time-limited dieting, and sure enough, I lost 15 pounds. And I said, wow, now it's time to stop. I did it several times over the next year and a half, taking at least, for me, a month's vacation or so. Took all my weight off. And I discovered something very important after each period of dieting. I took his advice about becoming active seriously, my doctor's advice, and so I became a tennis player. And I discovered that if I played tennis every day in my vacation periods, I never put any weight back on again. Now, I learned a lot from my experience, and I was finally persuaded to try my way in the Vanderbilt program about 1.5 years ago. So let me tell you what the rotation diet is. To begin with, women use a diet of 600 calories a day for 3 days, 900 calories for 4, and then 1,200 calories for a week. Then in week 3, you repeat week 1. Men use a diet that's 600 calories higher. Now, this is a really fun diet. It's a feeling good diet, and in order to be a feeling good diet, we have an insurance policy in this diet to make sure everybody can stick with it. There don't have to be any failures. And this insurance policy has 2 clauses, which I want to show you over here. The first clause is what we call free vegetables. Unlimited free vegetables. At any meal, you never have to leave the table hungry. You can eat all you want of any of these vegetables, asparagus, radishes, all the way down to zucchini. You never have to be hungry. These vegetables have no more than 10 calories a half a cup. So you could eat that whole bowl and you could never get fat. Now, that's just part of it. There's a second clause in the insurance policy, and that's what we call the safe fruit. You have to choose a fruit, something that you really like, to be your ally, your friend through this diet. And anytime you're feeling grouchy, anytime you feel fatigued, anytime you're hungry, you reach for your ally, your safe fruit, and you eat that in place of the junk food that you might have had before. This means that you will be able to resist temptation, because I want you to choose something you really like. Don't choose something you don't like. That would be torture. Choose a fruit that you really like, so that when you have to resist something, like the candy bar, you'll at least have something that can compensate pretty well for that. Now, in my own case, I chose grapefruit. Grapefruit. Notice the size of that grapefruit. And every time I was hungry, I would peel and section this grapefruit, and I would have grapefruit as my safe fruit. And remember, as you're going through the rotation diet, when you finish, if you will substitute about 60% of the time these safe fruits, make all fruit your safe fruit, for the candy and high-fat snacks, then you'll have it made from a dietary standpoint. Now, exercise is a very important part of the rotation diet. You can't make it without exercise. So if you're a sedentary person, you have to gradually increase your physical activity by about 15 minutes a day each week. In other words, the first week you do about 15 minutes a day, the second week 30 minutes, the third week 45 minutes. That's when you reach your activity goal. Choose something you like: tennis, dancing, swimming. If you choose walking, be sure to get very good shoes. You want the best of equipment. And then remember the very first rule of physical activity. It's not how fast you go, it's not how long you go that's important. It's never hurt yourself, because if you hurt yourself, you won't be able to stay active. Now, I also want you to remember not to use salt during the diet, because salt causes you to retain water. It doesn't make you fat, but it's very discouraging to retain water. And I'll bet you didn't know something. Did you know that it's a pound a pickle? A pound of pickle. If you eat a pickle which has almost no calories, you can retain a whole pound of water, and you don't want that to happen. Now we get to talk about maintenance. After 3 weeks on the diet, you make a transition to maintenance. You add 300 calories every few days. It's a hit or miss possibility here to find out just how much your body is going to need to maintain itself. You're going to be at a new level of activity, so be able to put back a few calories. It's very important that you take a vacation in between rotations. If you've got more than, say, 10 or 15 pounds to lose, you take this vacation for 3 reasons. The first is physiological. By taking a vacation, you prevent the starvation response. The second is psychological. When you take that vacation, your motivation really builds up again. You really get ready to go, and then when you're ready, you can be perfect for another 3 weeks. And finally, by taking that vacation, you really learn how to maintain your weight. It's a lot easier to learn what it's going to take after you lost, say, 15 pounds in practice and then lose another 15 in practice. It's a lot easier to learn maintenance than after you've lost 50 or 60 pounds. Now, I've got some final words. We've all been on diets before, and we've lost weight before. The important thing is keeping it off. And you know, I really do have a miraculous cure for obesity. Eat less fat and walk. Do it every day, okay? Now, let me summarize. Remember, when you go on the rotation diet, follow the menu, eat your safe fruits and free vegetables, 45 minutes a day of activity, avoid salt, and drink 8 8-ounce glasses of water every day. Now, I'm a firm believer in having fun when you're on a diet, and believe it or not, you really can have fun when you're on this diet. You might not believe that, but you can. The way to have fun and be successful is to get into a peppy frame of mind. So here's a little something to let us get into the swing of things.
Catan. Catan.
Catan is the doctor with his eye on your waist. If you stick with his plan, and not be stuff in your face. Up to a pound to be lost every day of the week. You can be a winner on the losing streak. Lose weight, feel great. All the right foods are a part of the game, and the 3-week cycle gives the diet its name. Portion control in the proper combination with the brisk little wall. It's called the rotation. Lose weight, rotate. Now my problem is I'm a candy man. I just eat whatever is handy, man. My sweet tooth takes what my wisdom tooth won't, and my willpower's hoarse from screaming. I got an inch to pinch and a fold to hold. I haven't seen my feet since I was 12 years old. My baby says stop the rotation, please, 'cause you're enough to love but too much to squeeze. Feel great, rotate. I saw a vision with his built-in insurance within the rotation, mixing apples with oranges up to 3 a day as a trade-off for sweets to keep the cravings at bay. Pineapple, grapefruit, cantaloupe, pears, not chocoholic bitches and blood sugar scares. Safe fruit. Guitar says gradually build lung power and start with the walk of a quarter of an hour. It pulling your weight, takes your breathing away. You get your second wind in just 21 days. Feel great, rotate. Tomorrow I'll begin to trim every ounce of that ring around the waist they call the businessman's bounce. I know that low-fat, mean cuisine will help me live life long and lean. When you see me walking, waving, tip your hat. No need to offer a ride, 'cause my spare tire's going flat. My baby's gonna see me, then I know she'll try it. Dr. Catan ain't this rotation diet. Lose weight, rotate. Feel great, rotate.
Catan.
Let's talk about activity for a moment. When I was a fat kid, I never thought I'd be able to play and run like other kids because I couldn't. Now nothing stands in my way. The very first thing that goes down in my appointment book every day is either a jog or a game of tennis. And I'm in better shape today than I was 20 years ago. There's just no way around it. Activity makes the difference between fat and thin.
My husband specifically told me that I could not walk on this diet with 3 children. And I decided to set out and prove him wrong, along with all the other friends who told me that no woman can walk with 3 children down a street. So I decided one day to take off after Dr. Catan gave me the incentive to get out there and walk. I wasn't going to lose the weight till I walked. So I took my 6-year-old and 4-year-old and put my 2-year-old in a stroller and started down the sidewalk. But we did real well, and we walked 3 miles now a day.
Let me tell you, I hated it. Dr. Catan told me I needed to walk. You'd have to walk you have to do something to improve yourself, to be a success, to get motivated. So I started walking, and I hated it. It hurt. My feet hurt, my legs hurt. But I continued to walk, and I started walking 45 minutes, and now I have increased it to 1 hour, and it's great.
For the first time in a long time, I think I'll let people see me. I have shied away from folks for 5 years since I gained 75 pounds. And finally, I've begun to open up to people, be willing to stand up and meet people. I really was ashamed of myself. And I'm beginning to get proud of myself. I found out that I can really do something that I thought was tough.
Once you get used to how good physical activity can make you feel, you'll never want to give that up. But here is something you are going to have to give up, at least temporarily, while you're on the rotation diet. I have with me Dr. David Schlund, a foremost authority on emotional eating and resisting temptations.
We want to share with you some of the situations most people face when they decide to go on a diet.
Well, my husband and I are both avid snackers. The difference is that he is skinny and I am fat. But he's really been a help to me on this diet because, first of all, he removes temptation from the house. He hides his cookies so that I don't even have to look at them anymore. And if he is snacking, then what I usually do is just pull out my free fruit or some vegetables that he's helped me chop up and keep in the refrigerator. And I try to keep my hands busy, and if worse comes to worse and he's eating something that I can't have, I just leave the room.
Some activities seem to make us want to overeat almost automatically.
I like to read while I eat. I never notice how much I've eaten until it's too late.
Put your fork down in the middle of the meal for 2 minutes. Then you can read if you like. A pause in the middle of the meal helps you feel just how full you really are and will help prevent you from overeating.
I'm a single girl, and usually it's just so hard to cook for one person. I always eat too much.
Put the extra food away before you sit down to eat. You can even freeze the extra portions for later in the week.
And I have to taste everything I cook.
Sip on a no-calorie beverage, or nibble on a free vegetable or your safe fruit.
My mother always said, clean your plate, and I did.
Only put what you intend to eat on your plate.
No matter how much food I eat the first time, I have to go back and get more.
Get that food out of sight. Put it away. Don't serve family style. All of the suggestions that we've made are meant to help you do 3 things. Change the environment, change the way you handle food, or learn to substitute other activities for eating. These suggestions will help you at home, but what about when you're eating out? Just about everything we do with each other involves eating. All our celebrations, Christmas, Thanksgiving, cocktail parties, births, and anniversaries. How can you live it up and keep it off?
The secret to a fun but low-calorie social life is to plan ahead. For instance, when you know you're going to a party like this one, eat less earlier in the day so you can have some of the good food at the party. Try to arrange your rotation diet schedule so that you're either on maintenance or on a higher calorie day when you go to a party or out to dinner. Then, when you get there, enjoy yourself. Eat, but don't overeat.
I'll look for anything low calorie. I definitely stay away from high-fat foods.
I concentrate on having a good time rather than food.
Let your host and hostess know how important your diet is to you.
When my husband and I entertain, we always serve low-calorie food because nowadays, everyone's on a diet.
So that's how to handle parties. But what about going out to eat? Here's Dick to show us how to diet in a restaurant.
Nowadays, it's a lot easier to eat out when you're on a diet than it was 24 years ago when I lost my weight. All you have to do is call your favorite restaurant and see if they won't prepare you a 600-calorie meal that's low in fat and low in salt. Here's what I used to do. I would start with something like a shrimp cocktail. And while other folks were having alcoholic beverages, I would sip on iced water with a twist of lemon. And when it came to salad, just look at all those unlimited free vegetables with carrots and tomato, perhaps a vinaigrette dressing. A nice thing about the rotation diet is that you can even have bread and rolls. And on your 1,200-calorie days, there's room for some butter and some sour cream. As a main course, try something like baked fish. And just look at those beautiful vegetables, broccoli, and this fruit, strawberries. If you've saved up some calories, say about 80, you can even have a glass of your favorite wine, as we're doing today on our 34th wedding anniversary. For most of us, good times and good food go together. But for some of us, bad times and good food go together.
I've really been eating a lot lately. Of course, you know, I've just got divorced, and one does have a tendency to get a little depressed and lonely. Just never expected to turn out this way.
You know, my mom, she's in the hospital right now, and she's been in there for a couple weeks, and we're all real worried, and just, there's a lot on my mind right now. When I get this way, all I want to do is eat.
When my boss is on my back, I head straight for the candy machine.
If you have problems like these, you're not alone. We all face these things in our lives, and it's natural to turn to food for comfort. The worse you feel, the more you eat. But the problem with that is the more you eat, the worse you feel. I'm sure you've heard the expression, you're your own worst enemy. Well, I think you could be your own best friend. Remember, first of all, that when you overeat out of anger or depression, you're only hurting yourself. And that is not a way to be your own best friend. You might be able to change this by talking frankly with the people who cause you to feel bad and see if you can't work things out directly. And you must search for another outlet for your emotions that doesn't hurt you. When you're feeling bad, try going for a walk. It will clear your head, give you a chance to think, and it'll make you proud of yourself for sticking with your activity plan and not overeating. When we feel bad and lonely and depressed, we need to find comfort someplace, through the support of our friends and families, or if necessary, with the help of a professional counselor. Now think of this diet and exercise program as a chance to change your life inside and out. You don't want to just look good, you want to feel good about yourself and make your new life better than ever. So follow our suggestions. I have faith. I know you can do it. So now that we've talked about emotional eating, let's talk about eating and cooking for fun. I'd like to introduce you to my daughter Terry, my favorite cook, and together we're going to show you some quick, low-calorie recipes.
Low-calorie food doesn't have to be boring. I love to cook, and I'm always experimenting with herbs and spices in various combinations. I hardly use salt at all. Remember, like my dad says, it's a pound a pickle. 1 pickle contains enough sodium to make you retain a pound of water.
So here is my recipe for herb salt. It has only a small fraction of the sodium of regular salt. You can make up a version of your own by mixing a variety of spices and herbs, but here is a recipe that I like myself.
We also use this herb salt in our salad dressings. Here's our favorite no-cal dressing.
Mix all the ingredients together, or experiment with your own combination of herbs and spices. Tarragon is one of the best. Here is a low-calorie dressing that uses tarragon. Pause your tape for a moment and write down the ingredients. What's cooking now, Terry?
Well, I'm making Royal Indian salmon.
Oh, and this is really special.
Yeah, and it's so easy to make. Here's the recipe. Just pause your tape and write down the ingredients, and then I'll be back to tell you how to make it. Marinate the steaks with the other ingredients for a couple of hours in the refrigerator. Then broil for about 8 minutes on each side or until the fish flakes easily with a fork. A 6-ounce serving equals 330 calories.
And you know, it doesn't have a speck of oil in the recipe, and it has a very delicate flavor, not at all hot and spicy like many people expect Indian cooking to be. Try this recipe because it is one of the very best fish recipes in the whole entire world.
And this is what it looks like when it's done. We're also preparing London broil.
Yes, that flank steak is one of the leanest cuts of meat you can get. I marinate it overnight, then broil or grill it, and slice it thinly on the diagonal to serve. Here's the recipe. Pause your tape and copy it down.
Now, coming up, we have several recipes for your day-by-day success on the Rotation Diet.
Stay with us. And now you're ready to start the Rotation Diet. This is going to be the most successful diet you have ever undertaken, and I'm going to help you by being with you for the next 21 days, giving you daily tips, recipes for pot roast and pasta, plus a lot of information and inspiration about dieting. I'll help you learn to avoid some of the pitfalls of dieting. I'll talk about diet saboteurs, and you'll hear about the TV ratio, and much more. So all you have to do to get my 21 days of advice is pause the tape where indicated after each daily tip. You don't have to rewind the tape, just put it in your VCR each day, right where you stopped the day before. Now pick a good day to start. Choose a Monday rather than a weekend. Pick a day when you won't be tempted by birthdays, holidays, and other special occasions that call for lots of food. Then make a commitment to be as perfect as you can for the next 3 weeks. I hope we can start every day together. So pause your tape each day. I'll see you when you start the diet. Stop your tape now. This is it, your first day on the Rotation Diet. This is going to be the most successful diet you have ever undertaken. Let your family and coworkers know what you're doing. Brag a little as the pounds start slipping away. Your excitement and pride will make others want to help you. Encourage your overweight friends to join you on the diet. It's easier for all of you to stay motivated when you're working together. You may have been on diets in the past, but this diet is different. The variety in foods and in the amount of calories you eat keeps it interesting and fun. The exercise keeps you fit. Plus, you know you'll get a vacation in 21 days. Rotate! So plan ahead. Make a commitment to be as perfect as you can be for the next 3 weeks. Look over the menus. Get all the right foods in the house and all the wrong foods out of the house. Carry a safe fruit with you wherever you go, and you're ready to rotate. Lose weight, feel great, rotate! Well, it's the second day of the diet, and you're probably already a pound or two lighter. You know, one question that comes up all the time about this diet is the question of substitutions. Basically, you can substitute any food from the same food group in equivalent portions. For example, substitute any vegetable for any other vegetable, a meat for a meat, a fruit for a fruit, a dairy product for another dairy product, or a grain for a grain. Canned salmon and sardines are high in calcium, but if you don't like these foods, substitute a low-fat dairy product. And speaking of salmon, poached fish is on the dinner menu tonight. Here's my shortcut recipe for poached fish. Just pause your tape to write down the recipe. Now, as for the wine, a lot of people ask if they can substitute alcoholic beverages for some other part of the diet as long as they don't go over the calorie limit. I don't recommend this because alcohol has no nutritional value. Many people find it difficult to resist temptation after having a couple of drinks. You can use wine in cooking. It adds very few, if any, calories to the meal because all the alcohol burns off as it cooks. So enjoy your dinner tonight. Today is day 3 of the diet, and we're going to teach you 3 magic words that will help you on any day of the diet. They're the abracadabra of dieting, and those 3 words are no, thank you. So let's practice it. What would you say if I were to offer you a chocolate eclair?
No, thank you.
How about a second helping of spaghetti? I made it especially for you.
No, thank you.
Want a piece of candy?
No, thank you.
Hey, how about a pizza tonight?
不谢谢 No, thank you.
I'm gonna pick up some donuts. Would you like some?
No, thank you.
I keep thinking of chocolate chip cookies, fresh baked. Wouldn't you love one?
No, thank you.
Not even one? No! Have a great day, and thank you. Many people ask me the following question. How can I maintain my motivation? The reason they ask me that question is that they're thinking about weight loss in the wrong way. They're usually thinking about how much weight they have to lose, how many weeks they're going to have to diet, how far they have to walk each day. Now, motivation is not that kind of a problem at all. Motivation is a problem of what you do the very next instant of your life. Motivation is a split-second decision. You can try my 10-second test for motivation in the following way. At the very next opportunity, just go stand outside the front door of your house and take 10 steps down the sidewalk. You'll find that you can't stop walking. You'll be able to go for 45 minutes as though it were nothing at all. It'll be very hard to stop. So the very next time that you're concerned with your motivation, just think in terms of what you have to do the very next second of your life, and take that step, and you'll be going down the right course for the rest of your life. I'd like to introduce you to two of my best buddies, my wife Enid and my daughter Terry. They were my best buddies 23 years ago when I lost 75 pounds because they helped me keep the junk food out of the house and they pushed me out of bed in the morning to take a walk. If you find that you need some help losing weight and keeping it off yourself, why don't you get yourself a buddy to help you? Go on the diet together, take your walks together, and in case one of you makes a little slip, you can help each other. So if you want to lose weight, then keep it off. Find yourself a good buddy. It's day 6 of the diet, and I hope by now you've started getting active on a daily basis. It's essential if you want to lose weight. David Schlund has come up with an interesting thought about activity and watching television.
I like to think of activities in terms of the TV ratio. The TV ratio is how much faster your body burns calories during any activity compared to sitting and watching television for an equal amount of time. Going to the mall and window shopping has a TV ratio of 3. Anytime you choose to go for a stroll, instead of watching TV, you'll be burning 3 times more calories. House cleaning and yard work also have TV ratios of 3. Chopping wood has a TV ratio of 6. Walking downstairs also has a TV ratio of 6, while walking upstairs is the big winner with a TV ratio of 15.
So get away from the TV set. In other words, when it comes to weight loss, when the going gets tough, the tough go shopping. Well, you've almost made it through the first week. You have my permission to feel good about yourself. You may wonder why broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots aren't on the free vegetable list. The answer is simple. I only put those vegetables with fewer than 10 calories per half cup on that list. And broccoli, carrots, and some other vegetables have a few more. But if you want to cheat with broccoli, go ahead. Eat as much broccoli as you want. You still can't gain weight on broccoli. Now, something that appears quite often on the menus is baked chicken. If you vary your seasonings, you won't get bored with it. Sometimes I sprinkle the chicken with Italian seasonings like these. Or try one of my favorite Mexican seasoning combinations: chili powder, paprika, and a dash of cayenne pepper. Remember to skin the chicken before you eat it, or better yet, skin it before baking, and baste it with this sauce. You can add other herbs to this as well. Hope your dinner is delicious. And now tomorrow, we're going to talk about a dieter's worst enemies. It's funny how people who love us sometimes sabotage our efforts to lose weight without realizing it. How many of you have heard things like, "Oh, just one little piece won't hurt. You've already lost a lot of weight." Or, "Good grief, how long is this diet going to last?" The best way to handle situations like these is to let the person know how much it means to you to lose weight and how they can help you rather than hinder you. And no matter what those people are saying to you, it's what you say to yourself that's most important. Remember, you can be your own best friend. Now, today, women began the 1,200 calorie rotation and men began the 1,800 calorie rotation. It's going to feel like a feast. During week 2, weight loss will slow down. You've increased your caloric intake and your body is adjusting. Your metabolic rate won't decrease the way it would if you kept on at fewer calories than what you're eating now. So relax, enjoy your bigger meals, and be good to yourself. You know, strangely enough, many people are worried about the week 2 menus in the rotation diet. There's so much good food to eat, they're afraid they'll be tempted to overeat. And when you overeat, that's when you feel guilty. In fact, I've known some people on the week 2 menus who lost 2.5 pounds and still felt guilty because they were eating more than on week 1. I want you to eat everything there is on the week 2 menus. That's the way you're going to stay healthy. The week 2 menus afford you the recommended dietary allowances of essential vitamins and minerals. So eat everything there is on the menu, and then go out and be sure you're active every single day. You won't gain any weight. I hope you're having a good time on this diet, enjoying yourself, eating out with your friends, and all walking together. After all, thousands of people are doing this at the same time, so let's just enjoy ourselves. And don't feel worried about eating more this week either, because it's a 1,200-calorie week, and you have to increase your food intake in order to make sure your metabolism doesn't slow down. So relax and enjoy yourself. Now, if you look at the menu for today, it's day 10, you'll see that there's no meat on the diet. Where's your protein coming from? It's coming from combining grains and legumes, perhaps with some dairy products. On this dish here, there's some rice. Rice has protein, but the value of the rice is increased by adding a dairy product to it. If you happen to be a vegetarian, all you have to do is combine legumes and grains or any other foods that provide complementary protein anytime meat is called for on the diet. And you too, a vegetarian, can be just as successful on the diet as anyone else. Isn't it nice to know you're not alone? Other people, whether they're housewives, doctors, teachers, mothers and fathers, or computer programmers, know that being overweight is no fun. In fact, 80 million people in the United States are overweight. Anytime you face a problem in staying on the diet, I want you to know that someone else has faced the same problem and solved it.
I'm much more assertive and secure at work right now. After I lost the weight, I gained the confidence to express my ideas to my boss.
My blood pressure is finally down. My doctor's taken me off all medication. He says it's all the walking I've been doing. I feel great.
I'm telling you, women that I date now aren't telling me that they want to be just friends. After this diet and after losing the weight, it really put some romance back into my life.
Well, for once in my life, now I can wear those, you know, those exciting, wonderful, stylish clothes. I don't have to dress to fit my body anymore. I can dress to fit the way I feel.
So hang in there. Keep your chin up and go for it. One slip, or even two, does not a diet break. The reason people fail on diets is because of the frustration and guilt they feel after making that mistake. The frustration and guilt make them want to give up. No one's perfect. We all make mistakes. And if you've made a slip, just go right on with the next day of the diet. For example, today is day 12. If you blew it yesterday, just go right on with day 12 of the diet. One slip, one piece of cake, is not going to make you gain back all of the weight you've lost. It's what you do after that piece of cake. Do you give up? Do you feel like a failure and go out and console yourself by eating a dozen donuts? The choice is yours, so don't think of yourself as a failure. Remember, successful people never give up. They just keep on plugging. If you look at your menu for tonight, you'll see pasta for dinner. Most of us, when we diet in the past, wouldn't have been caught dead eating things like bread or pasta. We had to sneak off and eat them because we thought we were cheating on our diets. There's a widespread misconception that bread, potatoes, pasta, and so on are fattening. But they aren't. It's what we put on them that makes them fattening. All that butter, sour cream, and those rich sauces. I'll give you a low-calorie sauce recipe for tonight. In general, when sautéing vegetables like onions or mushrooms, I use only 1 or 2 tablespoons at most of butter or oil. Many recipes call for more than that, but you don't need it. Just cover the pan with a lid and add a little water if it seems too dry. Try a whole grain pasta or a mixture of whole grain and regular. Whole grains supply more nutrients and fiber than the refined white flours. The total calories in your 1 cup of pasta plus sauce is only 270. Add 50 calories if you add a tablespoon of Parmesan cheese. So tonight you can enjoy a special pasta dinner and not feel guilty. See you tomorrow. It's the 14th day of the diet, and I'd like to tell you a little more about how to cook on the rotation diet. You can adapt just about any recipe to a low-fat, low-calorie, low-salt style of cooking just by substituting certain low-fat foods for higher-fat foods in the same food group. For example, in any recipe that calls for milk, I use skim or 2% milk, and I use plain low-fat yogurt instead of sour cream or heavy cream. You can use Neufchâtel cheese instead of cream cheese. And in desserts, try substituting naturally sweet dried fruits like raisins, dates, or figs for some of the refined sugars. I avoid instant soups and other prepared foods that are high in sodium and sugar. I like fresh vegetables and fruits too, rather than canned or frozen, though in a pinch, I'll use frozen vegetables or canned unsweetened fruit, provided it's packed in its own juice. Pot roast, your evening meal tonight, can be a low-calorie meal, and here's one of my best recipes for it. Have a hearty dinner tonight, and tomorrow go back on your low-calorie rotation for another quick weight loss. Here you are in the third week of the rotation diet. Most people can follow the program without having any problems, but sometimes things like constipation, leg cramps, and water retention occur. If any of these things are happening to you, be sure that you're getting your 8 8-ounce glasses of water every day. When constipation occurs, it can be due to the fact that you've reduced your total food intake, so be sure you're eating everything each day. Perhaps switch to a high-fiber cereal like Bran Buds or Bran Flakes with some low-fat milk. Eat a whole grapefruit before you go to bed at night, and stay active. If you're having leg cramps, you may be dehydrated, so be sure that you're drinking all your water and have those leafy greens and fruits for their potassium content. Perhaps your shoes are ill-fitting. That can cause all kinds of pains, including lower back pain. If you retain water, try some naturally diuretic fruits and vegetables like fresh pineapple and asparagus and leafy green vegetables and citrus fruits. They'll help your body get rid of that water. If any of these problems persist, check with your physician, because remember, the very first rule of the rotation diet is never hurt yourself. As my wife Enid says to me, Dick, take care of that body. It's your only means of transportation. I've got an idea. Let's not make comparisons. I'm speaking to those of you who've lost weight on the diet, but perhaps not as fast as a friend, your sister, or a coworker. This happens because everyone's metabolism is a little different. Heavier people are going to lose weight more quickly than lighter people. Those of you who have 100 pounds to lose are going to lose more quickly than those of you who have only 10 pounds to lose, and men will lose more quickly than women. What your body loses is right for you. Just follow the diet, walk every day, feel good, and in the long run, you'll make it. We're moving through the third and final week of the diet now, and I'd like to answer a couple of questions that often come up in my lectures.
I keep hearing about fiber. Do I need to take fiber pills on the rotation diet?
You can get all the fiber you need from fruits and vegetables and whole grains. That's really all there is to it. There's nothing like real food.
What about vitamins? Do I have to take any kind of vitamin supplement?
Yes. If you decide to do more than one rotation in a row, you should take a vitamin and mineral supplement. Choose one that contains approximately 100% of the RDAs. You don't need megadoses of vitamins. Women may choose to take additional calcium and iron supplements because women tend to need more of those minerals than any reducing diet can supply when it's used over a long period of time. Then when you get to maintenance, as long as you're eating a healthy, balanced diet with foods from the 4 major food groups, you're probably getting all you need in the way of nutrients and fiber. Welcome to the 18th day of the rotation diet. How's your exercise going? Perhaps you're wondering, like many other people, what's the very best exercise for weight control? There's really a simple answer to that. It's something that you enjoy doing and that you'll stick with for the rest of your life. I personally like walking and jogging and tennis, but I wouldn't recommend jogging for overweight people because it's just a little too tough on the joints. And how do you know when you're exercising hard enough? Are all exercises created equal? Again, I hate to say this, but those calisthenics where you just wiggle your arms and twist your body, they don't burn anywhere near the calories of just taking a walk or swimming. And how can you tell whether riding a stationary bicycle is equal to walking? That too is rather easy. Just go out and take a walk at 3 miles per hour, take your pulse, and then anytime you do an exercise that moves your whole body, you get your pulse up to the same rate, and you'll be burning just the same number of calories and getting the same cardiovascular benefits too. You can do the same at 4 miles per hour. Take your pulse, and once again, you're getting exactly the same benefits. In the end, the very best exercise for you is something that you can do briskly and that you enjoy and that leaves you refreshed and feeling great when you finish. You know, just about all of us have a secret, something we don't like about ourselves that we don't want to talk about. But fat people are handicapped because they wear their failures around their hips and their thighs and their waists. I want to tell you about something called positive self-talk, because the things you say to yourself can make a great difference in how you feel and the success of your weight loss efforts. Every time you catch yourself thinking that you're a failure, think about something good that you've accomplished and say to yourself, hey, wait a minute, I'm a winner. I can do it. You can do it today. Give yourself a pep talk. Give yourself some encouragement. You deserve to be healthy and to feel good. And remember that successful people are successful because they never give up. Here are some cold, hard facts. Did you know that in the past, on any diet, 90 to 95% of the people who have lost weight failed to keep it off? They put it all back on again, and half of them became even fatter than ever before. Successful people learn how to make 2 key changes in their lives that can help us change those statistics. And here are a couple of changes that you can make. One has to do with your eating habits. Successful people learn to keep junk food out of the house. They shop from a list. They make some healthful food substitutions. So choose something that's important to you and make that one key change. For me, it was just keeping junk food out of the house. The other key change has to do with physical activity. Successful people keep their weight off when they discover that walking for 45 minutes a day makes it possible for them to eat like a normal human being without gaining weight. They play an active game of tennis. They go to an aerobics dance class. So let's work together and change those statistics. Make a key change in your eating habits and get out and take a brisk walk every day for 45 minutes. Congratulations! You've made it through your first rotation. I wish I were there to give you a great big hug or at least a handshake. Even though this is an important stopping point in your diet, it's really the beginning of a new way of life, a whole new way of eating, a whole new way of living. And even though I can't guarantee you happiness, I can't guarantee that you'll never crave another candy bar, that you'll never gain another pound, I can guarantee that the things you've learned in this tape will help you successfully manage your weight in the future. I hope you discovered a new possibility, a thinner you, and that you'll believe in yourself and surround yourself with people who believe in you too. Many of you have already lost all the weight you need to lose, but others have 20, 40, even 60 pounds to go. Nevertheless, you have to stop. It's time to take a vacation from dieting, and you can use this time to remotivate yourself to begin a new rotation. On the next segment of this tape, we will show you how to take a vacation from dieting without gaining any weight. And when you begin that new rotation, I hope that you'll look at this tape once again for inspiration. Good luck. How do you get to maintenance after you've lost weight on the rotation diet? If you'll refer back to my lecture earlier, you'll hear how to add calories 300 at a time for a few days each time to find your maintenance level. Here are the basic rules. Increase your caloric intake slowly, add healthy foods to your diet rather than junk food, Avoid salt, keep up your physical activity level, keep drinking your 8 glasses of water each day, and keep using your safe fruit. Basically, each day women should have 2 servings of calcium-rich foods, 2 servings of high-quality, low-fat protein food, 4 servings of whole grain bread or other whole grain products, 2 servings of vegetables, or better yet 3 to 4 servings, 2 servings of fruit, including a citrus fruit. You can really have as much fruit as you want. Men should follow a similar plan with larger servings of protein foods, 6 to 8 whole grain servings, and plenty of fruits and vegetables. If you truly care enough to do what it takes to be slim and healthy for life, make this a practice. Don't add any desserts, candy, fried foods, or fatty sweet snacks to your diet until you have eaten the basic ingredients of a healthy diet each day. When you eat junk food in place of the more nutritious foods, you're cheating your body of the foods Mother Nature designed for you. Reread the pamphlet containing this information that accompanies your Rotation Diet companion. So there you have it, the full Rotation Diet plan, my recipe for success. You don't ever have to be fat again, and you've learned the principles of sound nutrition and physical activity that will last you a lifetime. And I wish you a long, happy, and healthy one.
Catan. Catan.
Catan is a doctor with his eye on your waist. If you stick with his plan, he'll not be stuffing your face. Up to a pound to be lost every day of the week. You can be a winner on a losing streak. Lose weight, feel great. All the right foods are a part of the game, and the 3-week cycle gives the diet its name. Portion control in the proper combination with the brisk little one. It's called the rotation. Lose weight, rotate. Now my problem is I'm a candy man. I just eat whatever is handed, man. My sweet tooth tastes what my wisdom tooth won't, and my willpower's hoarse from screaming. I got an inch to pinch and a fold to hold. I haven't seen my feet since I was 12 years old. My baby says,
Stop the rotation, please, because you're enough to love but too much to squeeze.
feel great, rotate. Insurance within the rotation, mixing apples with oranges up to 3 a day as a trade-off for sweets to keep the cravings at bay. Pineapple, grapefruit, cantaloupe, pears, not chocoholic bitches and blood sugar scares. Say fruit, say fruit. Catan says gradually build lung power and start with the walk of a quarter of an hour. If pulling your weight takes you breathing away, you get your second wind in just 21 days. Feel great, rotate. Tomorrow I'll begin to trim every ounce of that ring around the waist they call the businessman's bounce. I know that low-fat, mean cuisine will help me live life long and lean. When you see me walking, waving, tip your hat. No need to offer a ride, cause my spare tire's going flat. My baby's gonna serve me, then I know she'll try it. Dr. Catan and his rotation diet. Lose weight, rotate. Feel great, rotate.
Catan.